Dear viewers, welcome to the Roundup, usually weekly, covering indie games, reveals, releases, patches and everything in between. Let's dive in. Starting with reveals and announcements. Announcements are up first. Indie game Gedonia by solo dev Oleg will leave early access on October 15th. This is a beautiful indie title, a third-person ARPG full of vibrant visuals, interesting dungeons, decent gameplay, and it even has modding support these days. It's been received well so far by the community, so hopefully the launch goes smoothly. Tactical indie game Lost Eidolons announced their release date, October 13th. It'll be available for $35, which seems reasonable. About a third of this game was playable this year earlier, the first 8 acts in fact. I played those and thought this game was very solid. Voice acting was decent, combat definitely interesting and strategic, and the game features a narrative that kept the campaign going and was engaging at the same time. The Slormancer announced the release date for their next early access big expansion, The Great Forge. September 27th we can play this patch and it's bound to be good with a whole new endgame and it looks very interesting. I'm planning to simply play this, maybe even on the main channel, as this has been content that has been well received, and then I'll just let you know how it feels and plays instead of talking about what is to come in a few weeks. There are a lot of Wild West games coming out lately, but if I had to bet my last dollar on one of them being good, I might go for Evil West. They just released another extensive gameplay slice of over 12 minutes, which you're watching here. It is a third-person ARPG western game with an occult twist. From the footage you can tell voice acting is great, the narrative seems fine and combat is arcadey but visceral and seemingly enjoyable. Sound design is very solid and this has the hallmarks of a low brain activity, high dynamite barrel kind of game, which I could definitely see myself playing over the weekend. I didn't realize this next game was in the making, and it was revealed last June actually, but there's going to be a turn-based tactical game in the world of Spellforce. Now, I'm not sure you guys know Spellforce, but it is low-key one of my favorite franchises. I used to play a lot of RTS and fantasy games, and Spellforce combined a great story with base building, hero development and a bunch of RPG elements, allowing you to improve your party and heroes over the course of a high fantasy campaign. I thought they were awesome games, and I'm positive this world that's been created over 3 games and several DLCs is more than suitable for a decent turn-based game. A bit in the spirit of the original King's Bounty, the way it looks like. You see some gameplay here and I can't wait to play this honestly. Oh, it's called Spellforce Conquest of Eo. No release date yet. Then some game reveals, starting with Macabre Museum by a new indie studio called Different Monster. This is a 4-player co-op game inspired by old cult horror movies set in all sorts of ancient eras, ranging from Egypt to Mesopotamia apparently. You'll be solving puzzles, fighting weird monsters, that sort of thing. There are 4 characters, an archaeologist, influencer, private investigator and journalist. We've seen this sort of mix before, could be cringe, could be fun, I guess it all depends on their personalities and the writing. When it comes to graphics, I'm not that impressed, but in terms of concepts, this could be fun, especially with a few friends. It seems almost like an ancient escape room where you're trapped in some weird time loops trying to fight your way to freedom. There's no release date yet, but the game will launch in early access and will be in early access until at least 2025, so we are in for the long haul on this one. Just a few minutes ago I talked about Lost Eidolons from indie studio Ocean Drive Studio, and they've also revealed another game they're working on called Blackout Protocol. Lost Eidolons seems to shape up like a good game, so that's a plus. Blackout Protocol, however, is something completely different in terms of genre. Blackout Protocol is a co-op twin-stick shooter with roguelite elements and a tense, spooky atmosphere. Some special features here are friendly fire, not necessarily a plus in my book, the need to illuminate environments because enemies tend to lurk in the dark, which can be cool in co-op, cards during your runs that upgrade certain skills and weapons and perks, and a panic gauge, which once filled is probably gonna screw you over. It'll release in early access in early 2023. Rift Loopers revealed itself, a top-down twin-stick co-op shooter. This one is made by Monster 2 Studios, makers of Dungeons of Eterra, a cult classic dungeon crawler, so these devs earned at least some respect in that sense. Game looks decent enough from judging this trailer with fairly realistic graphics. The combat looks fine. It reminded me a bit of Red Solstice 2 all in all. Very futuristic, you're fighting a bunch of bugs and I guess other aliens. It has a roguelite element, allowing you to upgrade your characters in between runs. You can unlock additional character classes, guns, abilities, that sort of thing, and it supports up to 3-player co-op. And yes, it will be an early access game. Now, for something completely different and cute, here is the latest game from Chibig, an indie dev and publisher known for the indie game Summer in Mera. Their new game is called Ankora Lost Days. Here is what the devs say about it. Discover the wild planet Ankora and explore freely around this mysterious world full of promise and danger. Craft different tools, build structures and terraform yourself a new home in this cute as heck survival game. And boy does it look cute. First, Dwarf got revealed, an immersive action RPG with base building elements, which will test your survival and exploration skills in a fantasy open world, sprawling on islands floating in the sky. Decent tagline, not gonna lie. The game features world exploration in mana-powered mechanical armor, which is upgradable. There's colony building, fighting with barbarian tribes, wild creatures or natural disasters. You can uncover mysterious secrets of the ancients while unveiling the story of the hero's family. And last but not least, you can play as Ragna the dragon, the dwarf's pet, and help your dwarven protagonist explore the world of Driftlands. Looks fun. The game is made in Unreal Engine 5. The game is made by Star Drifters, who already have 2 previous games set in the same universe, so that bodes well in terms of world building at the very least. And if any of these games look interesting, be sure to wishlist them. It helps the devs out a lot. And similarly, you can subscribe to this channel, which helps me out a lot. Proceeding with the patch Plaza, bringing an overview of patch news. Clanfolk brings another major update, introducing rats and cats. First, the bad, the rats, which start infesting your colony if you start storing a lot of food, and they spoil that food, making it go bad. There are a few ways to deal with rats, like setting traps and all, but the most effective way known to mankind is cats. I live in the center of Amsterdam and a lot of bars here have cats exactly for that reason. It's kinda cozy having a cat in the pub, and I would rather have cat hair in my beer than rat poop, let's be honest. So cats, very effective and cute, because this is a game set in the Scottish Highlands. And these cats, they are Scottish wildcats. I don't even know that actually exists. But like the name suggests, these are wild, so you'll need to tame them. You do that by either being in their vicinity as they start chasing your rats inside the colony, or by actively feeding them with bowls of food. It's a great concept, I feel. In true cat fashion, the dev created a new starting scenario, which has you starting apparently as a hermit, so I guess that's alone, but at least you will be surrounded by a ton of cats. That's something. There's more though, because you will be able to marry off people to workers as an elegant solution to population control. Just marry off your most useless humans to other clans. Then releases. Looking back at what released the last 2 weeks. Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed, a silly alien game, a remake even of the 2006 original. It did decently well. Metacritic gave it a 72, Steam users rated it an 83. It's available for €40, which isn't cheap, but yeah, I'd pick this up on sale personally if you're interested. Something a bit more serious comes from the pen of Sam Barlow, creator of games such as Her Story, in which you need to piece together what happened to her from the bunch of recordings. Immortality, his latest feature, seems to be very similar in terms of setup, and these games are truly something special if you have the patience for it. This game is about an actress who made 3 movies that never released, and now she has disappeared as well. Steam rates it an 83%, but the critics absolutely love it, with Metacritic scoring it a 90 and OpenCritic an 89. It's available on Game Pass too or on Steam for €16, and I think it's quite the experience. Tinykin released. This is basically Pikmin with a bit of a modern twist. OpenCritic rates it a strong 82, Metacritic a 90, and Steam even higher with a 98% user rating. It's €20, decent price, decent game if you like what you see, probably a fairly safe purchase, or you get Game Pass because it's over there too. Circus Electrique released a steampunk-inspired tactical story-driven RPG including some circus management and turn-based combat. The art style is great, gotta give them that. Steam likes it with an 85% positive rating, and that's a lot higher than the critics score it, with Metacritic sitting at 70 and OpenCritic at a 73. We have some suction going on with Justice Sucks, a stealth action game about a killer robot vacuum cleaner on a quest for vengeance through a 90s TV universe. Stalk your prey, hack smart devices, turn them into deadly traps and consume the blood of your enemies to unleash devastating powers. This is just completely ridiculous, but with a premise like this, what could possibly go wrong? I think the art style is great. Melbourne-based indie studio Samurai Punk, the devs of this vacuum madness, already previously made a short version of this game called Roombo First Blood in 2019. Justice Sucks is the sequel, available for €12, and so far all 12 Steam reviews are positive, giving it a 100% rating for what that's worth. Steelrising released a Souls-like ARPG with automatons battling for power over Paris. It's set in the French Revolution in 1789, but something tells me you're better off waiting for Lies of P, which has a very similar premise, a very similar setting, and it's also about automatons fighting other creatures somewhere in France. Steam user rating has it sitting at a mixed 67%, Metacritic scores it a 70 and OpenCritic is 73, so it's probably fine, but nothing special. It also costs €50, very close to a AAA price, and I'm not sure that warrants the quality on display here. And finally, Broken Pieces sees the light of day, a psychological thriller taking place in a French coastal village somehow outside the flow of time. Solve the mysteries by putting the pieces of the story back together by figuring out the enigma behind this mystical place. It has horror, puzzling and adventure. It costs €20 and out of the 30 Steam reviews, 90% is positive, with a reviewer calling it a refreshing game. A controller here is apparently recommended because mouse and keyboard implementations suck. Let's look ahead at what's releasing this week. There is Nobody Saves the World with a new DLC called Frozen Hearth. This is a really fun game available on Game Pass. Not sure the DLC will be as well, but here's what it offers when it releases on September 13th. A new area, which is a forgotten region far beneath the world's crust, new challenges, new forms like the turret building mechanic and the small but deadly killer bee, co-op just like in the main game, and finally mini golf. If you're up for some retro vintage detective work, be on the lookout for Sunday Gold, a point-and-click turn-based adventure set in a grim dystopian future. Play as a ragtag trio of criminals to hunt down and expose the dark secrets of an evil mega-corporation and the malevolent billionaire behind it. The game features atmospheric action, slick turn-based combat and noggin-scratching puzzles. It's made by Become, a studio based in Montreal, and they previously worked mainly on mobile games and on Age of Empires 4 doing UI and HUD work. I'm not 100% sure, but this seems their first attempt at a grown-up PC game, and I wish them all the best because this just looks excellent. Release is September 13th. Here's one for those who think they can drive. There's this little game called You Suck at Parking. I don't even own a car, so seeing me park is probably not going to be great either. Haven't driven in like 2 years or so. Anyway, this game, it seems fun, right? Nothing too serious, just trying to get your customized automobile through an obstacle course without stopping and ultimately parking it into the parking spot. Probably a lot more difficult than you might think, and I think a lot more fun as well. Release is September 14th, but you can already play the demo. And, ladies and gents, it will be on Game Pass day 1. Good deal! Or on Steam for €20, which is 2 months of Game Pass. I mean... Indie city builder on the back of Dinosaur, The Wandering Village by Stray Fawn Studio from Switzerland releases in early access on the 14th of September. I have a key for this, I've been playing for a while now, and you can expect a review soon on this channel, at least before it launches. It'll be available for $25. There's this dope rhythm game called Metal Hellslinger where you need to shoot bad guys on the beat. It's like Doom meets heavy metal and it's fucking amazing, this game. By hitting the shots on the beat, you increase the intensity on the current song that's playing, and if you hit the maximum stacks, the vocals kick in. It's just amazing, honestly. Gameplay wise it's good too. I'd say it is visually appealing. This is simply going to be a banger. A headbanger, one might even say. Release is September 15th. Up next, free games. I'm gonna change the free games section a bit by only mentioning new free titles that I actually know or care about. All those weird titles on Epic and Game Pass, I don't feel it adds much value, honestly. With that in mind, Game Pass has one game on offer I haven't mentioned yet in this episode, the critically acclaimed Immortals Phoenix Rising. This was a Game of the Year contender if I'm not mistaken. Apparently it is a really solid game, good ARPG, Greek mythology fun. You could easily spend a rainy weekend enjoying yourself with this. Time for some personal updates. What have I been up to? Well, gaming wise, I've been playing The Wandering Village, review will be out soon, and I've been playing Path of Exile still. The buffs keep coming, the build holds up a lot better than its creator these days, and yeah, still having fun in that game. Otherwise, not a whole lot going on the gaming front. I've also started a page with curated games I like and that I reviewed. I'll put a link in the description, so if you're ever looking for something good and new, check out that list on Steam, which I'll be updating as I play and review more games. And if you want, you can also join that group, I think. Personally, I've started a bit of a similar track as Asmongold did lately, having a lot of dentist appointments to fix my teeth, including a bit of dental surgery. I didn't go for like 20 years, and when I was eating noodles the other day, a piece of my tooth broke off, and it wasn't the first one. A clear sign I should actually plan an intake with a dentist, which I did that same evening, and I went the next day, being scared as shit, not gonna lie. Reason I never went is because I was butchered by a dentist when I was a little kid, because he did everything, including pulling teeth, without any anesthetics. It's insane thinking back about that, but it did cause a trauma and I never went back after that. Until now. These days, it's completely fine if you can find a decent dentist. I haven't had any pain at all in like 7 appointments, including pulling a tooth that couldn't be saved anymore. And now that I'm almost done, I'm happy I went and that it is still relatively fine. So if you're like me and we're gamers after all, drinking a ton of soda and never visiting a dentist, I would really recommend you do it because it clearly only gets worse. Just a little advice on a rainy Sunday afternoon. And that's it. If you have any questions or remarks, put them in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and you want more like this, consider liking the video or even subscribing. Thanks for watching and for making it to the end. Love you all. See you soon. Bye bye.